In a post-truth reality, who will save the world, uncover the mysteries of the universe and build a vast multimedia empire to rival the likes of Genghis Khan? Join these two Aussie meat robots as they thrash out the weird and wonderful, the classified and supernatural, as well as their own inconceivable adventures on the podcast you had to have and never thought you needed. It's time for Hidden in Plain Sight.
Recording, we're back for Hidden in Plain Sight, part 4 of the Prague episodes and adventures. My name is Sean Hall. I'm joined by my partner in crime, good friend and colleague, Joshua Stewart. How are you doing, Joshua? Are you putting up with the icy flows traveling down the Vltava in Praha?
No, not really. It sucks. I'm not a nice guy. I'm not a nice guy. I'm not an ice guy.
Thanks for clarifying that. That's good.
I'm
yes.
top heavy. I'm top heavy. You can see it's not conducive to slippery surfaces.
Do you ever fear that you might walk through ice and just like crash through it? What's the
I think I do have
animosity?
an underlying fear. No, I have an underlying
Trapped
fear
under
of
ice.
probably going, in through it. I mean, it's like we grew up in Australia. We grew up going to the beach, going to the surf. We know how to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
Second nature. So people who grew up ice skating on frozen rivers, I'm sure they don't have any thoughts of, I'm going to disappear through a hole here and get eaten by a carp.
The thing about snow and ice, it looks great from the outside. I remember the first time I saw like a lot of snow, like my instinct was just to run and dive into it. And I very quickly recognized and realized afterward, that's a bad idea. It's not fun. It's cold, it's wet, and it's painful after a while. You got to warm up. Yeah. It's dangerous. Yeah. So beware. If you see ice or snow,
Aussies in the snow.
It's just not a good thing. I mean, but that said, I know a lot of Aussies that talk about snowboarding and skiing and doing all that kind of stuff. But I think you've got to be, weirdos, but also I think you've got to be like just slightly cut above the rest of us. Do you know what I mean? No one goes, you got to know someone that gets you into skiing or snowboarding.
Oh, no, let's not get into this. It's like Seinfeld and the pony episode.
I
had a pony. People that have ponies are all rich kids. But I had a pony.
No, I never had a pony. Never had a pony.
None of that. No classism here.
We had we did have a couple of sheep and goats, quite a few dogs, cats, but tractors, but never a pony. I think my dad was afraid of horses.
I am too.
Are you
like
really?
Him.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. Like I'm not. I see in front of me an intelligent enough animal that's very muscly, able to move, bigger than me a lot of the times, and I'm just like, look, I'm not familiar enough.
Look, here's a big shout out to our friend Amber Kenny, great musician, having a lot of fun singing some songs. She's also an excellent horse trainer. I went down and spent some time with her when she was. The thing that she said about horses is they're very different animals because there's a competitive ego factor that plays out with horses. So they're always trying to work out who's in control of the situation. And, the thing that I learned was that if you're indecisive around a horse, they sense it and they kick you straight in the nuts. But my dad,
as they should.
My dad, he was scared because his older brother, Uncle Terry, he was a stockman and really good on horses and used to terrify Dad as a child by like riding up and chasing him around on very big horses.
Good on him.
I think
that's nothing like a bit of trauma to
well-deserved fear. So no ponies for me, man. No ponies.
But like cows, just a little bit on cows. So people are like, I'm not afraid of cows either.
Okay.
I used to go fishing a lot as a teenager.
Yeah.
And on farm properties and stuff. And I've seen cows do some pretty stupid bloody things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I saw one cow almost drown in about 2 inches of water. And all it had to do was stand up or roll over. And it spent 10 minutes on its back, putting its face in the water, panicking that it was going to drown. I'm like, the animal's way too big.
Yeah.
And then it eventually rolled over and just went, it got up and bloody walked off.
Look, I met a very peaceful and well-intentioned cow on top of a mountain in Hong Kong just recently. And, I was surprised. It was a big animal. It was a bull. And I was like, it's pretty chill. It's just eating some grass, sitting on top of this mountain, and I'll just let it be. Let it be.
Well, we should probably crack on with episode 4.
Episode 4. So where we
like 4 and 5 if we crack on too long.
Well, mate, it might be 4 and 5. But where we ended up in episode 3 was we had sort of just moved to a place in the center of Prague, a Pladolava. We wished for something. We wished for fame and fortune as, you know, as wannabe music rock stars in the Czech Republic. And funnily enough, Prague being the threshold when you wish for something in a magical place like the city of the Golden City, sometimes that magic can happen, like in all the stories, all those fairy tale stories. And it certainly did happen. So, Josh, tell us, like, when did we first know that something was very different to all the other musical adventures was happening? How do we know that something was afoot, that our wishes were coming true?
Well, I guess that's a good question. I'm just trying to go back to that place now. So I'm actually in Prague, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I'm close to the memories. I think we started realizing, manifesting. So at that point in time, when we were living in that kind of bunkery office / whatever it was, we decided that nothing much was going to happen if we weren't going to go out and do something.
Yeah.
So we had this epiphany, a magic moment, because we kind of thought, we're cool, we're foreigners, we're hip, we're all the good stuff. It'll just fall out of the trees for us. And it kind of wasn't. So I know that, at the time we were kind of doing day jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You were kind of in bars and washing dishes and doing all that stuff.
Cleaning windows.
And we said to ourselves, all right, well, let's go kind of Blue Mountains Boy style.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really getting much happening, so let's go and find some places to play.
Yep.
That are a little bit off the beaten track. So we came in with a different mindset and decided we were going to approach the whole thing slightly differently.
I think this is the kind of Field of Dreams ethos that we have. If you build it, they will come. I think there was a big part that film, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Field of Dreams. That film really influenced us both, I think, at a formative point in our life where we're like, if we build something, it'll happen. And I think we've always kind of done that. We've come back to that idea of like, well, let's just make something happen. And so we booked a gig at a place with a lovely woman, a manager of a place called the Design Cafe, and her name was Veronica.
Yes.
And she gave us our first shot,
shows.
As like a regular gig at this Design Cafe where we could turn up as an acoustic band and start playing our songs.
Make some money.
Money
flowing.
Yeah.
Because we had a band called Astro Metro, which we were starting with a drummer and a guitarist.
Yes.
An interesting chap on the drums
Dan and Honza, yeah.
No, before this. That, there was another guy, Jakob, on the drums.
Yep.
And we kind of had some guitarists come in and out who was some of them were quite well known and they're still quite well known now.
Yes.
But we were jamming in a schoolroom somewhere. One of our mates who you've mentioned before, who lived with us for a little bit in a Pladolava, Chris Santana, came in on keys.
That's right. Yeah, the American that looked like Lou Reed.
Yeah, he was killing it. He had some great ideas going.
Yeah. Sweating. I just remember him sweating in the rehearsal room
a lot.
and just like
get his shirt
playing
off,
those. He'd get his shirt off and just be rocking out and having a good time.
Cheeseburgers. He liked cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
But so we realized that setup, although we were having a lot of fun, we wanted to get out and play.
Yeah.
So we shifted things up. So we stopped with that for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
We went over to think about our songs, our setup. We said, right, let's go out just guitar and voice, which we did. Started in Design Cafe, and around the same time, we met Dandy and Honza, who became the permanent members of Astro Metro.
Yeah.
And we even used to jam in that little office space that was our rehearsal room.
I think sometimes we jammed in the courtyard outside.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were reckless. We're Aussies. Yeah. I mean, look, this is the Aussie attitude, right? On one side, you go, oh, God, isn't that beautiful? Look, they just, no worries, mate, doing it. But here we are in the center of Europe, jamming out in the middle of an office block.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it was starting to snow at the time as well. And
it was all stuff. People would come down from buildings around the way and knock on the door and be, please, bass is going through the walls. Like, yeah. Okay, we'll turn it down. And off they went. And that was just
That cracks me up. That place was funny. We had a lot of people come and stay with us in that place, and one of them was an Irish bartender by the name of Keith, and we all
he went to
lived.
clown school.
Did he go to clown school?
Dude went to clown school. That was his
No
college.
way.
He'd been to clown school, Carney school.
You mean like the Jacques Lecoq, the
He
Buffon,
studied
the French?
to be a clown.
No way. I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
Was he a good clown?
I never
Did you-
saw him do his act.
Oh, mate. Keith, if you're out there, we want to see the clown act. There's got to be a YouTube link somewhere that we could, pop up for him.
He was a good crack, that guy. I remember you two having that battle with the airsoft guns.
Look, yeah, we had airsoft guns.
Remember that?
Yeah, I know.
was a
And
classic.
they had those little BBs in it. And the thing about Keith, God bless his soul, but he had a bit of a problem with stinky feet, and we were sharing the same room together. And I was
did
just
he?
like,
Oh, wow.
well, that was what it was about. That argument with the airsoft gun was just like, dude, you got to wash your feet. And he's like, wasn't that
I
why
was listening. I was
What was going
downstairs, and you guys started at it. But you guys always had a niggle. There was always a niggle, and you were like, "What? You got to." I don't know how it started. I heard you saying something.
I was in let's just put this in. This is a room that's a low ceilinged room. It's like a cellar room that's big enough for hobbits, and you've got me living in one bed, my sister Beck living in another bed next to me, and then on the other side of the room, Keith and Joel Daniel Robinson, and sometimes Carla was there as well with Joel. Like, it's just like a communal room, crazy living all together. And I'm like, I had an airsoft gun, and I don't know, power went to my head. And
you both had. They were my bloody airsoft guns.
Oh,
I just remember.
like the guns. All right.
I remember I could hear something start up, and all I remember is you saying, "If you don't go do it, I'm going to shoot you in the head." And he's like, "If you shoot me in the head, I'm going to shoot you in the head." And it just started this whole thing. And then all I hear is pop, 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 pop. And then you hear the guns hit the deck, and it's rumble city.
That's right.
I come up the bloody stairs, and you guys are rumbling on the bed. I'm like, what the? So I had to take you outside, and you were all fired up and having a ciggy, and Keith's in there. I'll kill him. And I was like,
yeah. Look, I think I must have just seen Reservoir Dogs or something like this. I don't know. Who knows?
Dude, you guys were a classic. But the best one was, okay, I was living downstairs. But downstairs was like a kitchen, small, what you might call a kitchen space, with the spiral stairs going up to your place, and a little dog leg off the side, which came my room. Like, it was a little kind of space.
That. Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm going to stay here, I need to put a wall up. But before I had the wall up, I had just strung a sheet across.
The curtain.
And I remember one day there was a door to one side of the room. You come into the flat, the door was immediately on the left. But if you went into the kitchen, there was actually no wall on the other side of this door. So one day you'd had a few too many Bekarovkas, I think.
Yeah.
And you come home.
Usual.
And you probably wanted the airsoft guns, or you wanted to borrow something out of my room.
As usual.
Anyway, I had the sheet was just a sheet on a piece of rope. That's all it was. That was my wall. And I remember coming home from work, and my door was like almost hanging off the hinges. It wasn't completely open, but it was all like busted a bit. And I'm looking at it going, what the fuck is this? And I was like, hey, has something happened to my... And all I can hear is you from upstairs. Don't lock your bloody doors. I need to get something out of your room. Don't lock your bloody door.
I broke it down. I know. Oh, fuck.
But no, you didn't actually manage to break it down. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and the door's here, and I just put my head around the corner, and there's a sheet that you just could have like opened up and walked in there. And I was like, nah,
look,
all right.
A sheet for some is a very simple thing to get around, but for me, it's kind of like a fortress. I break the door down instead. That makes more sense to me. That's was insane good. Because you did. I think you hired a couple of Ukrainian guys to come over and start building a wall. But I just remember me sitting in the kitchen and you sitting in your bed as they were building the wall and just watching the wall go up.
Super hungover. And they were like Abbott and Costello. One was super skinny and short, and the other was quite large and tubby. And they were just like, it was a comedy act. And they both loved techno. So I'm in the bed completely hungover, and there's and they're putting up this gyprock wall. Classic.
I think I'm still to this day very resentful over that wall, and my sister Beck will attest to that resentment. She and my other sister Kate lived with us in a Pladlava, and we had some good times. Good times were had.
It's a real gypsy cave. So
It really was.
But let's move on to one of our, I think we had this is what we could call the start of our real adventures. It's where we
Yeah.
kind of hooked in, and where we met. This episode may not be supernatural in essence,
Yes.
although we are talking about someone that
Oh.
may have been the devil.
Possibly. My sister
Nah.
had her theories about his connection to some demonic forces. That's for sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, to get to the chase, you and I were playing in this design cafe place.
Yep.
And when I say it's not a supernatural one, I think a lot of my feelings about this is if you build it, they will come. So we
Yeah.
started resonating in a place where we were confident, we were making some money, we were getting some fans,
Things
we
are
were
happening.
doing it all, and we started to lift. And
Yeah.
from that, we'd get some other gig offers. But one day we were playing in Design Cafe, just yourself and I.
Yeah.
It may have been our first show or second show. It
Yep.
was early on.
Yep.
And there wasn't many people on this one. There's a few people scattered around, and there was near the doorway. So we're at the back of the cafe. It's a small place over near the door. Was a very tall gentleman that looked a bit LA with a baseball cap and a white shirt and blue jeans.
How tall was he? I'm going to clarify this. He was just under 2 meters tall. So he was just 2 centimeters away from being 2 meters, which is officially
Yeah.
a giant. He was huge. It was like a cross
It's very
between...
wiry.
Very wiry.
and
It was like a
thick.
John Cleese, Christopher Reeve kind of crossover
Yeah.
that was French/Spanish. Really odd guy, but very tall, huge. There he
Tall,
is.
and he was quite like he was fit. Like you
Yeah.
could see that he worked out. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't one of those people who was stick thin.
Yes.
Looked like a let's say a basketball player, a little bit broader,
Yeah.
chestier than
Yeah.
a lot of them. But yeah, he was quite big, and he had a young female with him of some description.
Yeah.
And I just remember we were playing away, and we took one of our breaks, and it was her that came up with a note, or
with
him.
no, I believe it was one of the waitresses that came up with a note for
That's
us
right.
and gave us this
Yes.
note. The other thing I
Little
should mention
scroll.
about this guy is that he was clearly not from Prague because he had
Yeah, exactly.
he had a New York baseball cap on, like a New York Yankees baseball cap on top
Yeah.
of his head, and that was like you didn't see a lot of guys wearing those kind of caps, and so we were curious about who's this foreigner that looks really different to most people, and like tall guy, who is he? Came up with a note. I think I have it somewhere. And what was on the note? It was kind of really poorly written as well.
It was
a bit of a
poorly
scribble.
written, and it basically said, "I can't talk now. It's not the time. I'm kind of in this meeting. However, I really like what you guys do. I'm in the music business. I'm from LA. Let's talk." And I think he said, "I'm
Here's
not
here's
going
my
to give you
number."
my number." No. I think
No.
he said, "Write your number."
Ah, yes.
Or he may have given us his number and said, "You got to text me first. I don't answer unsolicited calls."
Yes, that's
Now,
right. That's,
I've met a couple of uber rich people in my life.
yeah.
One of them is what's his name? Brendan, the guy that started Kiss Radio, the Irish guy. I forget his last name anyway.
Yeah.
I met this guy in the place I was working in when I was in Opladalov. It was an Irish bar. He was a
Yeah.
mate of the owner.
Okay.
And when you meet someone, in my experience, who's uber rich, they don't flash it. It's a nice cut, simple plain T-shirt or polo. There's some nice cut jeans. You might tell maybe they got a $2 million watch or something, but you can tell they look well put together. And that was Cristiano for me. I saw him and I was
Yeah.
like, that's that vibe. This is not Armani suits and flashy mafioso stuff. This is like understated, but you had an air about it. You were like,
You could smell it. You could smell there was a vibe going on in the room. And I think
plus
when we
he had
got
2 or 3 phones
well, that was the other
and the
thing.
latest ones.
Yeah, latest phones and 2 different ones, and they're quite big because it's back in the old days. So it was not before iPhones, before smartphones.
It was
that
those
kind of
first
time.
Nokia slabs, the first
Yeah.
Nokias that you could open and it had a keyboard inside it.
And we're like, whoa, this guy looks
Super
really
expensive.
super sophisticated and interesting. And I think we were young and stupid enough to kind of go, just like get super pumped and excited. I don't know. We felt like, I remember when we called him, this was after the gig. He went his way, we went our way. And then we had a rehearsal with Dandy, yourself, Honza, and I were all together. We made the phone call. We texted.
Yeah.
We'd arranged a time. We're all standing together outside in the courtyard of
That's
the
right.
Paranormal, and we're
We were
like
"Ew." Kids in
let's
a
give
toy
this guy a call. And I think the gist of the conversation was, you guys are awesome. There was a lot of talk about you can be as big as who was the biggest band in the world at that time? Like it was like
I think it was Coldplay and that kind of stuff.
maybe
like,
U2. I think it was more.
Yeah, he's talking about U2 and that kind of
It's like
stuff.
you can be big like this, and I
We've
want
got
to
to
help
get you guys up there. Yeah.
and let's do it. And like I remember getting off the phone call with Cristiano and just being totally elated. Like it was like, yes, this is it. This is our break. This is what we've been waiting for.
Well, the psychology is interesting because if we take it around to not be the actor in the play, but be the observer,
Yes,
it's
the
interesting
witness.
that we were just acting off some fairy tales. So we've all heard the story of Oasis or the band that got discovered in the corner of the pub, and next minute they were,
The Rags to
Bad
Riches
Bunny,
story. Yeah.
who just won the Grammy for best album. 10 years ago he's working in a supermarket or something, and so that's that dream that we kind of but. I'm going to say this weirdly enough.
Yeah.
We had enough arrogance to actually think
We were good enough to be that.
That it was real. You know what I mean? Like looking back on it now, I go, holy shit. You could say arrogance or you could say it was just that innocent, but it's a bit of both. Like we actually were there going, yeah, we deserve this. This is exactly what should be happening.
Look, is it a setup inside the actual game itself? Like, let's say the game of life. We all play that board game, the game of life. Is it a game factor that story exists so that people stay in it? People stay playing at the. We're at the craps table. We're sitting there. We're rolling the dice.
You've got to keep them on there, right?
Keep them on the table. Like there is that possibility. But remember, there's that one person that didn't just got that break, and then boom, they're there.
Yep.
And I think that feels enticing, especially if you're maybe less experienced. You can kind of go, well, that could be me. I could be the one that breaks
the answer
out.
is yes and no, because I think it's intentional as much as it. So just touching on the gambling, in my pub days, I'd go to some seminars because obviously for some reason in Australia, fruit machines or whatever people call them around the world,
Pokies,
slot machines,
slot
pokies,
machines. Yep.
took over the whole industry and did a lot of artists and out of jobs and changed the whole face of what, the pub industry is in Australia. However, you go on a gambling seminar and it was all about time. So all they were trying to do, all they said was, it's time. You need to keep people in that room longer. That's all it was about. There was no strategies about getting them to spend more or spend less or whatever. It's just if someone's got the mindset they're going to gamble, they're going to either do their ass or not. It doesn't matter. House always wins on the pokies. All you need to do is keep them in there as long as possible. And I was like, okay, so that's the same principle. Keep them at the table. So stories in life, the reason we keep going to work, even though we're working ourselves to the bone, we don't think about the other stuff we might be able to do because there's all these other factors that talk to us. So when Cristiano, we're about to talk about a guy who is a highly sophisticated con man on a level that I've probably never seen in my life. It's the stuff you hear about on news stories or a current affair.
Absolutely.
And this guy, to be able to pull that con, had to understand everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
He had to understand the veil, the game, the reality superimposed over the other reality, and he played it really well. Because we had no idea until a year and a half or so down the track. There was obviously signs along the way, but we didn't really know until the dude had made his escape.
Disappeared without a trace. And so much happened in that period of 2 years in our life where we went from
hectic.
Like we went from a place of like I'm living with a group of smelly people in one room together to being,
beautiful
in front
apartments,
of beautiful apartments on stages in front of, screaming fans
with Ozzy Osbourne, Slayer,
Tool, these amazing acts, being live on television for charity benefits, and
went all over the world.
All over the world. Like suddenly we're mixing in this echelon. I mean, I remember we played at this Fashion Awards show that when I think back at it, it's pretty odd because it was organized by Ivana Trump. Osmani Lafita,
and like this was kicking around.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was way before because Ivana Trump was a Czech woman, and this is way before Trump was obviously the president. But like, just to think to be sort of inside that world, just for a brief moment, to be playing on a show, and then there's Boney M, Ivana Trump's over there, and you're kind of like, what the hell is going on? It was only like a couple of weeks ago, months ago, that we were, sitting in a park with nowhere to live, down and out, smoking the last cigarette, going, well, if if it stays warm enough, we can live in this park for a little while and eat the leaves and eat the berries. We'll be okay. And then it's just switched over, and we're sitting down with this guy who we should call Cristiano Theon.
Cristiano Theon was the name he went by.
That was the name he went by. And we found out later that person never entered the country and never left the country.
Never
so
existed.
It's a fake name. But it's this massive, larger-than-life character, Cristiano, he'd sit down with us and eat 2 chickens at a time. 2 whole chickens at a time, and we could eat whatever we want. And for me,
and desserts,
dude, and like, we were fucking genuinely hungry. Like, not just like, I'm hungry for success. We were just hungry. I remember going to work and fantasizing about food with my colleagues because no one had any money. And the money that we did get, we spent on
our number.
Bullshit.
So the first meeting we had with him, or the second, at first was in a small cafe, but second we started to go to a restaurant called Ultramarine.
Yeah.
Which was near a place called Narodny Treat. Now, Ultramarine was
Shout
one
out
of those
to Dennis
new
from
funky,
Ultramarine,
Yeah, Dennis and
he
Sylvia.
got done too, yeah.
Was
Sylvia,
one of those new funky restaurants where the chef, it had 2 levels. The chef was in front of you cooking. It was kind of a fusion cuisine.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
It was like a Sunday family dinner we'd always have together. If for 2 years we'd sit together and have these.
But
big
it's a great
feasts.
modern. So for us, that was out of our price range. Let's be honest.
100%.
That was for more kind of, and we would
people
go
with
there
jobs,
and
proper jobs.
Yeah, and he would go order whatever you want, and we'd be sitting there ordering caipirinhas and Coronas. And the interesting thing was, Cristiano, I don't know if you remember this, never saw the guy go to pee. Like, we'd sit down and we'd sometimes there for an hour, 2, 3 hours, and he would be there the whole time.
Well, he's I mean, this guy, yes, he never peed. He never peed?
I never saw him get up and pee. Not once. I was always watching. I was like, how does this guy never get up and go to the bathroom?
My God.
In that entire time we were meeting with him, I believe I saw it once. It was when another dodgy character, Terrence, was in town, and I think Cristiano went once.
Can I do it?
That was it.
Can I do it?
Yeah.
Jack Daniels, Coke. Jack Daniels, Coke. That's how he'd order his drink. Terrence, the manager.
Because here in Czech Republic, the common thing was it's a ceremony. They bring you, if you order Jack and Coke, it's not a post-mix gun, Coke in the thing. They bring you Jack Daniels, a glass of ice with a teaspoon, and a bottle of Coke. And he was like, no.
Not like that.
Just Jack Daniels,
Coke. Put it together. Look, the first time we met him, which was not at Ultramarine, it was in another bar.
Cafe across the road.
Cafe across the road. The thing that I noticed about that particular meeting was he pointed out this massive guy called Emil, who is his personal bodyguard.
Yeah, that's right. Emil was bigger than him.
Yes,
taller
so this guy,
and broader.
So this guy was like over 2 meters, massive.
He was 2.2, somewhere around there. Like, he was big.
Like what? 2 meters 20. You're saying 2.2? Yeah, he was massive, massive guy. I remember being in quite large concert festivals in the audience, and he was there with us as our protector. This is further on, but in this first meeting, Cristiano made a point of like going, there's my security. He's sitting at another table, not at the table with us, but he's watching my back. Do you remember he made that note to us? And it's I think it's part of setting up the con in a way, because
of course it is.
It's like, look at me. I'm so important that I have private security here in this venue keeping an eye on me, but they're not here. They're sitting over there at this table.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and we were look,
like,
for us, that had us immediately. I mean, that's what he did. We're on the hook. We were just, so we've actually thrown around the idea, which is something I'm pretty sure we're going to do. We've talked about doing a series called Finding Cristiano, where we want to really talk about this in depth and try and take people through the entire thing and try and actually see if he's still kicking, because he may have been lynched,
because we were not the only people that got duped in that situation.
Well, no. And interestingly enough, so to unravel all of this, Cristiano, we very quickly, so we got hooked, and it was great because very quickly we went from working our asses off, trying to survive, drinking 20 crown, like, to put that into perspective, what's that? It's about $1.80 litre box wine, and smoking cheap ciggies and, scraps off the table.
Yeah.
And next minute, this guy's giving us SIM cards and paying
Yeah,
for
that's right.
our phones.
Here's your phone.
Like literally almost off the bat. It was almost a second meeting. Guys, I've got this for you. Here's your number. Here's your number. And we were like,
Yeah.
radio.
We've got phones.
That's awesome.
And here's an allowance. Here's money that you can live
That
on
was
week
the
to
next
week.
bit.
And I was like,
So he
oh,
asked us, I remember we sat
I want
there
you to quit
and he
your
asked
jobs.
us- it was second or third meeting.
Yeah.
And he was already on the whole thing. A red flag should have been when we realized he couldn't pronounce any artist's name. Like the great
He's
one,
been
I
the-
remember Horsey Horseborn and Pritzy Pritzy Pritz and
Who is-
Bitsy Boys.
The Bitsy Boys, Horsey Horseborn, Pritzy Pritzy Pritz. And the reason he had a slight accent is Cristiano Theon could speak multiple languages. He said
Yeah.
he said that he was a noble-born French person, but had grown up part of his time in Spain. So he had come from an old family, an ancestrally noble family in France. I don't know what that exactly
He
means.
had a French accent.
He did have
a
a
French accent.
but kind of like
Weird
a
though.
yeah, like it was
Canadian,
like
like
Inspector
a French
Clouseau
Canadian.
kind of French accent. It was kind of like a Peter Sellers-y vibe, just
Bit
a little bit more
broken, yeah, a bit
nasal,
weird.
bit weird. And it was like kind of a comic character. And yeah, he had the two phones with him, one for in, and they both had those kind of like bedazzler stuck on stickers on them saying incoming, outgoing.
Yeah.
And that's
He actually had three phones or four because he had the two computer style ones.
yeah, like
And then he had those Matrix
The
ones. He had the
Blackberries,
phone,
yeah.
they were those Nokias. They were silver and they were in
Yeah.
the Matrix movie.
right.
So the dude had 100,000 crowns worth of phones.
and I
And
think,
we're sitting there going, "My God, this is."
I think that's
what is
also
this?
one of the tells is when you see someone that's got two phones, one for outgoing and incoming calls. I mean, you know that's someone that really has to manage, like who they talk to, what level of the spin they're in at the moment, and how they're going to
Exactly.
manage that, and how they can manage the flow of what's going on here. Like, no one can call me that I don't expect.
That's
I can't
what
get
it was.
caught. You know, like-
Even we noticed when we went into restaurants, he did that thing that we know about where he never sat with his back to the door. He always
Yeah.
sat at a table where he had vantage and he had way out. There's always a way that he could get out quite quickly if he needed to.
What's that film with? Is it Dirty Rotten Scoundrels? It was a bit like
Exactly.
that. We were
That's
playing.
what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And essentially, very quickly, we went on to a retainer every week. So at the time, to put it into perspective, at that time in Czech Republic, someone who was working full time in an office, like our guitarist was, or a police officer, were on about 20 to 25,000 crowns a month, which
Yeah.
at the time was about 1,000 Aussie dollars a month, or just over 1,200 Aussie dollars a month.
Yeah.
It was a monthly salary
Yeah.
for a policeman or a normal office worker. So he came in and he asked us all, the four of us. So he took us as a band
Yeah.
and he said, right, what is it going to take for you guys to get out of your job? And our guitarist at the time, I think he was on a 15 or 18,000. The drummer had never had a job. And you and I were like, I think we beefed up our salary a little bit.
We
So he
negotiated with
basically-
him, with the con
Yeah.
artist. Hey, we know business. Let's
Well,
go
we know how
high.
to roll.
Go high, go low. Yeah, yeah.
Well, he gave us at the time, we each got just over $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
The Czech guys got a little less. They got just under $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know if they know about it. So Dandy and Honza, if you're watching, I don't know if we ever discussed that, but hey, he was paying us more and he said to keep it on the down low, but it's not in the down low anymore.
Here is something. I think at the beginning he tried to, I don't know if he tried to negotiate just to have us two as part
Yeah,
of
it
it, or
was, and we said
just
no.
me. I don't
Yep.
know, but I think there was a little bit of like, hey, I can just forget those guys. I'll make you a star. And I think we were pretty resistant to that. And he was like,
Yep.
all right, I respect that. I'll keep you.
Brought the boys in too.
We'll bring the boys in and like all of that.
Well, we
kind of
ended up- look, we
stuff.
ended
Come
up-
on.
To nutshell this, because I'm sure we'll go through this at a later date. We have to, because it's a big one. I mean, there's a lot happened in that 2 years. And basically we went from poor ass artists to guys who even the boys, Dandy, the guitarist, had his own apartment right on the Old Town Square for a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
We were on 45 at the end, I think.
yeah.
It was a
I
fair
don't
whack
think I
of
got
cash.
any more. I don't know exactly what people were getting. but-
35.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was a
we
lot.
got some decent money. We'd all gone up a bit. We were told just to rehearse. The guy got us the first rehearsal room we had. The first thing he did was put us in the studio to record a demo because he needed a demo for his investors.
The investors.
And this was,
unseen.
this was right. Dude, this was a
investors.
month after. So we'd only known this guy a month, and he's already putting us. He's going, give me a demo. We used to record little demos. We'd give it to him. He'd listen. He goes, yeah, I like it. I like it. Right, we need to go to the studio. We went to a place called Brandy's Nad Laban, where there's a castle on the Labe River.
Yeah.
And we recorded in that studio, did our EP or whatever it was,
Couple
demo.
of songs, yeah.
And he was like, great, love it. I'm going to give this to the investors. And then we started talking somehow about having these rehearsals, and we asked the sound guy or the guy who owned the studio about rehearsal space. And he had another room or another space there, and we ended up renting it, and Cristiano decked it out. Like, remember, he put carpet down and he put some mirrors in there.
Yeah.
Did the whole bit.
Yeah.
And we would drive there every day. So he was paying for that.
Just to clarify, we spent a year rehearsing in a medieval castle 1 hour outside of Prague every day.
Yes.
That was paid for by this guy who was fronting his own record label, Theon Records.
Apparently, yeah. And during this time, so he was putting his money where his mouth is. When we say his money, we found out later, none of it was his money, but he bought us a PA system to go in the room. He was buying gear. Oh, you need a microphone? Great. Dandy, you need an amp? Great. Went and bought Dandy, like, I don't know, $6,000-$7,000 amp. Like, all this stuff was happening.
So in a way, like, what can you say? Like, what's the problem, fellas? Like, I think there's somebody outside watching this going, sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like you guys were having a great time. But it does come with a caveat, and I think people are going to have to wait to the next episode to see where it started to turn, because you got to be careful for what you wish for, because things got pretty crazy next. See you soon.